Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Canelo Alvarez haters exposed. And look, let's break it down honestly and objectively as possible. And the first hater comes to us named Joshua Martinez 1684. And he comes out and states, hold on, I'm a Canelo supporter and I think he's a great boxer. But there are a few facts that we have to keep in mind here. Canelo Alvarez did not have to beat the true champion to get that WBC belt. Benavidez was stripped because he did not make weight, and Canelo Alvarez was able to take that championship without facing the true champion. Now, this is the interesting part of this whole statement is Canelo's not fighting a true champion for the WBC belt, which is a blatant lie. And I can't read any more of this trash, and this is why. We all know that Canelo Alvarez fought Callum Smith for that world title in San Antonio. We know that. That fight was made a unification fight. So he fought an undefeated prime world champion and the number one ranked 168-pound fighter in the division for that world title. So what you mean he's not fighting a true champion for it? If David Benavidez was the true champion, he would have never been stripped of the belt, you dumbass. You gotta keep the same energy. So when Canelo Alvarez opts to still fight an undefeated prime world champion for the belt and the guy's the number one fighter at 168, why are you hating? It literally makes zero sense, but we understand that you like to ride David Benavidez. We understand what you are. Let's keep it going. And the next one comes from Bobby Truth. And Bobby Truth states, Canelo does not want to fight Bivol at 168. Bivol already won, so he should dictate that fight, not Canelo. This means that Canelo is ducking Benavidez by pretending he wants to fight Bivol at 175 when it should be at 168. So I'm going to stop you there. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. This guy has a whole conspiracy theory about somebody pretending to want to fight. When has Canelo Alvarez pretended to want to fight? He fought Floyd. Was that pretending? He fought Triple G. Was that pretending? He fought Bivol the first time. Was that pretending? It's always some excuse with these haters. But here's the interesting thing. Canelo Alvarez wants to fight at 175 pounds because he wants a rematch. If Canelo fights at 168, is that a rematch or a different fight? It's a completely different fight that works in Canelo's advantage. Canelo's willing to give up his advantage to fight at Bivol's weight, to rematch. That's what he wants, a rematch. He does not want a new fight. He wants a rematch, especially because if Canelo Alvarez were to win that fight at 168, which is highly likely because that is his best weight, Bivol and all of these fanboys, such as yourself, will say that Canelo Alvarez drained Bivol and that's why he lost. There will be excuses and then there will need to be a third fight. See, at the end of the day, Bivol out of his own mouth stated that I'm not sure I can make 168 pounds. So if Bivol's not sure, and all of these fanboys talking about, he wants to go down, he wants to do this, he wants to do this. No, that makes zero sense. Why leave the door open for excuses to be made? Rematch the fight, and if you're better than him, beat him again and end all of this. Why drag this guy down and wait for no reason? Bivol wants to easy out, wants an excuse because he's not even sure he can make 168. You've been body bagged and exposed, but I understand why you're on Bivol's nuts, because they're all the way down your throat. Let's keep it going. And the next one is Billy Bills, 1822, and Billy Bills states, IBFP is such a clown. And whoever messed with this dude, y'all some cornballs. How y'all follow somebody? Y'all don't even know what he looked like. Now, first off, this guy talking about how do you follow somebody if you don't know what he looked like? So do you follow guys based on if they're cute? You looking for somebody cute to follow? Like, what are you looking for? You want your ass cheeks busted? That's the problem with these guys. You don't care about the facts. You want to follow a man based on how he looks. That's how you know Billy Bills is garbage. But not only that, let's keep it going. He says, just because someone thinks Bivol's a better fight doesn't mean it's an easier fight because styles make fights. Benavidez has the style to smoke Canelo. Now, that's the dumbest statement I've ever heard. Styles do make fights, but saying Benavidez has the style to smoke Canelo makes no sense to me. The only thing Benavidez is smoking is a brisket. Let's be honest and unbiased about Benavidez. He's all wrong for Canelo in the way that Canelo Alvarez will destroy him. Think about it like this. David Benavidez has no defense. Never shown top defense in any fights he's ever had. David Benavidez, power is not enough. He couldn't even stop or hurt Caleb Plant. So you think he's going to have the kind of power to make Canelo Alvarez not want to engage? That makes zero sense. And David Benavidez also has a suspect chin. You're not going to fight Canelo Alvarez, an elite fighter with elite power and elite chin, when you have a suspect chin, suspect power, and no defense. That's a recipe for disaster. But I understand why you said this, because you really don't know shit about boxing. We understand that. And then let's get to the last dummy of the day, and that's Dominguez 355. He says, watch the rematch with Bivol, and you will see Canelo has declined. Now, first off, that's stupid. If Canelo Alvarez loses a rematch to Dimitri Bivol, that doesn't mean he's declined. Losing a fight to an elite fighter does not mean you've declined. You just lost a fight to an elite fighter. That literally says nothing about you, because the best fighters lose to elite fighters. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Not only that, he also goes on to state, it will be easier than the first fight for Bivol after the performance that Canelo Alvarez just had. Now, here's the interesting thing. First off, Canelo Alvarez would never fight Bivol the way he fought John Ryder. Anybody that thinks they really don't know anything about boxing. And two, after the performance he had, did Canelo lose? Did Canelo get dropped? Did Canelo get outboxed? None of those things happened. Canelo Alvarez literally broke this man's nose and whooped his ass the whole fight. Literally won almost every single round. What was bad about the performance? He dominated this man, hurt him multiple times. This is exactly what you expected. Now, he also goes on to state that Canelo Alvarez got hit a lot by this guy, and he was a massive underdog. So you have to understand, for Canelo Alvarez, he stated that he went in looking for a knockout. You don't obviously know the Mexican fan base in Mexico. Mexicans in Mexico want to see a war. They're not coming to see you tap dance, box, go back and forth, hit and not get hit. They're not paying to see that. They're not coming to see that. Canelo Alvarez would be heavily criticized if he would have went in there and said, I'm going to hit and not get hit. They don't want to see that from their star. That's not what they want to see. The Mexican fan base wants to see a war. They want to see you go back and forth. Canelo Alvarez, to quote him, he states, fan wants to see a fight, not someone who runs the whole night. Canelo Alvarez's plan from the very beginning was to engage, was to attack, nonstop and be relentless, and that's what he did. That's why he dropped a man who's never been dropped before in John Ryder. That's why he put on a war and broke his nose, because Canelo Alvarez was looking for a knockout. He was not looking to box. Because men lie, women lie, but the facts don't lie.